Hello. Are you a moderator as well?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Then I will give you both a microphone. Can you get that around? Yes. Well, I control the volume, so I try to.
So you just turn it on.
That looks good to me. It's comfortable. Okay, thank you.
So good morning, everybody, and welcome. Congratulations for being amongst the die-hard to arrive at the 8 a.m. ResearchNet session. Fantastic to see so many people here. My name is Gavin Perkins. I'm the Director of Science for the European Resuscitation Council. I'll invite my co-chair to introduce themselves.
My name is Sebastian Schnaubert. I'm an emergency physician in Vienna, in Austria, and I'm joining from the Young ERC as a co-moderator.
Fantastic. So we've got a fun-packed programme of lots of different activity and excitement. I'm down to speak first about the European Resuscitation Council vision for research, and I know many people in the audience here at the moment were also present in the audience yesterday, so I'm not going to repeat the slides from yesterday, potentially to just remind people that the European Resuscitation Council's vision is to preserve human life by making resuscitation available for all, and our vision within science is making resuscitation science available and accessible to all. We strive to do this through collaboration. We have the flagship project of our collaboration with the Eureka initiative led by Jan Thorsten and colleagues. We also have a development with Resuscitation Plus, my conflict of interest as editor-in-chief of that journal. But we've recently appointed a young ERC editor or trainee editor, and we will be appointing members of the young ERC to the editorial board. We're also very keen with collaboration with our sister societies and colleagues, and we want to use the European Resuscitation Council as a platform to help develop the generation of the next group of resuscitation researchers moving forward. I'm not going to distract from the important parts of today's meeting anymore. As the session progresses, if anyone has any questions on the European Resuscitation Council's vision for resuscitation science, please do pose them. But without further ado, we'll move on to the next speaker.
All right, that will be Jan Thorsten Griesner talking about Eureka. No? Sorry. We have a mix-up here.
No, there's no mix-up. You're correct.
I'm correct.
I forgot to tell you they'd swapped.
The reality is the mix-up. All right.
Yeah.
Yes, good morning. Jan Thorsten has another presentation, so I took this over. Thank you for this. You can see the slides. Thank you. Yes, a quick Eureka update. My name is Holger Maurer. I'm from the study management team of Eureka. Move forward. Which is also my conflict of interest. And the green one, oh yes. And as you know, the last big Eureka study was the Eureka 2 study published a few years ago. And in between, we also were quite active. And just to point out one important paper, this was the to ventilate or not to ventilate, where we have seen within the Eureka studies that there is a substantial difference between the people getting full CPR when concerning bystander CPR compared to these ones who just get chest compression only. So we were quite active in between, and we are now looking forward to Eureka 3, which is the main update. Actually, some of you might have heard, in autumn of this year we will launch the study. There are, of course, certain aims with this study. The first one is, as usual, to expand the Eureka network. And to improve the understanding of how response times and transport times influences return of spontaneous circulation and survival, as well the short-term survival as also the survival to discharge or 1 month. As we have seen, there are substantial differences throughout Europe. And again, if we have now not only Eureka 1, but we have Eureka 2 and 3, then we can also, I think, get a good idea about the longitudinal changes over the years. And of course, we are not only collecting special values concerning time, but also continuously data collection of the well-established data points. So what this actually means, we encourage, as usual, participating countries to aim for national data collection, and we also encourage additional countries to take part. again, to get a certain kind of robustness, we make sure that the data collection is 3 months, this time from September to the end of November, so 3 months actually. And the specific research question we want to address, despite the ones that we kind of always address, the core data, is what is the EMS response interval for out-of-hospital cardiac arrest? How long is the EMS treatment interval? How long is the transport time? So actually we are looking for all the times that are possible to get. And what is, of course, their influence on survival? And especially, this is sometimes quite difficult to get from the data, but we still strive to do that. What is the response interval for persons alerted by dispatch and time from their arrival to the EMS arrival on scene? Just a quick timeline for you. We need memorandums of understanding of all the participating registries. This should be done until the 31st of August, and then from the 1st of September until the 30th of November, there's the study period. In between, we are going to do a national coordinator meeting. Yes, and then after all the patients are in August 23, there will be the analysis in the first draft. We will present that on the ERC meeting probably in Barcelona next year, and the publication should be there in early 2024. The study, of course, is registered, you can see here, and as well, of course, there is an ethical clearance from the University of Kiel in the north of Germany. We had substantial, let's say, things that were difficult. It's concerning the general data protection regulation. It caused us some headache, and for some countries it's still causing some headaches. There are some official things that have to be cleared. So the representative and principal investigators, Professor Jan Thorsten Gresner, the contracting authority is the University Hospital of Schleswig-Holstein, the Institute for Rescue and Emergency Medicine, and access to the data the scientific committee and the study management team have. For these registries that kind of are quality improvement registries, and they are there anyway, this should not be a problem. Usually it's not a problem. There is a, for the ones that are just, doing special research, we try to help them also to take part. So this just for a quick update. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the audience? I'll just have a look if there are any online. Not at the moment. Any questions from the audience? All right, so maybe one question from me, just a quick one. Why 3 months? Why not 4? Why not 5? Why not 2?
Well, it's actually mainly a question of feasibility. For the Eureka 1, we did 1 month, and then we did 3 months for Eureka 2. And we thought about thinking about half a year, but this is much more work, and even a year is, of course, much more work. And so we decided first because of comparability, because it was 3 months last time, so we have 3 months now. And yes, we changed that a little bit because last time we did include December, and this is, of course, due to some mobility things within Europe, people living in different states, and of course, also the researchers and the people at scene, they might have other priorities during Christmas, and so we changed that and went 1 month early.
All right. And how many countries do you expect to take part?
Well, there were 29 within Eureka 2. We have to see some countries have serious issues concerning the GDPR. We don't know yet, but of course we strive to get more. So let's see.
So anyone's still free to participate, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you very much. So next up will be an update on the ESCapeNet, presented by Hanno 10.
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Yes. Oh, these are not my slides. Hanno 10 is my name. Yes, that's it. Okay, well, this is sort of a continuation of what we have discussed yesterday, 1 hour later than today in the same room about ESCapeNet. This presentation is also called Looking Back, because the ESCapeNet project is actually nearing its completion. So just as a brief reminder, the ESCapeNet project is a Horizon 2020 funded project in which 16 partners across 10 European countries are participating, including the European Resuscitation Council. And the two main aims of the project are not only to look at resuscitation treatment, to study resuscitation treatments, but also to study the causes of sudden cardiac arrest. And in order to do that, the most important resource is the harmonization of the cardiac arrest databases that various partners in the consortium have collected over the years. So we have harmonized these data into one database of about 100,000 cardiac arrest cases. And we also collect DNA samples. We are now well over 10,000 DNA samples. As indicated, this project is nearing its completion. In fact, this is the last year of the project, including the COVID extension that we have obtained. It started already on the 1st of January 2017, so it's basically time to look back. And look back at the main achievements, and hopefully these are the main achievements that we can build upon when we look into the future. So as I told you, the harmonized database is the main resource of the ESCapeNet project. Not only that, we have also, of course, created a governance structure to make this database available and accessible to partners inside, but also outside of the consortium. We have established a steering committee, the core executive committee. And we have also included new partners, Lombardy Care, Pavia Care. And we have strong partnerships with the European Resuscitation Council, but also with the European Heart Rhythm Association, because as I told you, the other main objective of the project is to try and understand the causes of sudden cardiac arrest. We have been, well, quite successful. At least I'm quite happy with the output that we have so far obtained. We are sitting now at 98 papers, so the hope is that we will reach the century mark. And well, we have a couple of months to achieve that, but the question is which partner is going to have that publication. So these are a couple of examples. What I try to convey with this slide in particular is the fact that it's very broad. So it's not, as I said, only about resuscitation treatment, but it's also about trying to understand the causes of cardiac arrest, which include the acquired causes, the comorbidities, but it also includes, for instance, the genetic causes, the DNA studies. So, the ESCapeNet project is nearing its completion. It will not, of course, mean that we will stop once the 1st of January has arrived. We will continue, and in fact, this is one of the initiatives that we have started already in order to be able to continue at least the network of researchers that we have built, which has been so successful and so pleasant to work in. It's called the PARC project. It's also a European-funded project through the cost organization. This is the website, and the reason why I'm pointing out this website is that the PARC project is a networking project. It's not a research project per se, so research is not being funded through the PARC project, but the networking is. So we can have networking activities, such as meetings, of course, but also training schools, also so-called short-term scientific missions, which are exchange programs of, in particular, junior investigators. This project has started in 2019. It's a 4-year project, so it will end in 2023. And as I said, the aim is to make use of the achievements of the results that we have obtained in the ESCapeNet project, in particular the use of the database, but also to maintain but even extend the sudden cardiac arrest research community beyond ESCapeNet. This is an open project, so if you are interested in joining, and so far 19 countries have joined, if you're interested in joining, just visit the website and get in touch with me or with my colleagues in the park, and then there's a procedure in which people can join this project. I'm very much looking forward to that. Now then I'd like to conclude this short presentation with a new project that we started. It's not a European project, it's a Dutch project. It's a BK project, Beat Cardiac Arrest. It's funded by the Dutch Heart Foundation. It started very recently on the 1st of April. It's a 3-year project. And this is phase 1. And the overall objective is to develop a system for automatic alerting in case of sudden out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. And the basis is the development and testing of a wrist-worn device, a smartwatch basically, which runs by studying the photoplethysmography signal of your pulse, so basically it's Apple Watch, in combination with accelerometry. And with this set of data, we try to detect cardiac arrest automatically and also send an alert to the EMS systems automatically. This is phase 1. This is just the technical validation and development of the project, of the device. And it's foreseen that after this project there will be a phase 2 where the integration in the chain of survival is actually being studied. So just a very brief schematic. So as I said, this part is about the technical development. We are striving mostly, or of course we're striving at high sensitivity, but we also strive very explicitly at a low false positive rate, because we don't want false positive alarms being sent to the dispatch centers. That is quite a challenge because the PPG signal is notoriously susceptible to motion artifacts. So with this scheme, I'm not going to run you through it, but we try to increase the sensitivity and specificity as much as we can. And then I think this will be my last slide. Yeah, and then in phase 2, if everything works, we have to look at implementation. As I said, we have to integrate it into the chain of survival. But not only that, we have also, of course, to integrate it into society, because the question arises, who's going to wear this device? For whom is it going to be developed? How can we market it? Is it something which the insurance companies want to pay for? And last but certainly not least, what are the ethical implications of giving such a device to just anybody in this room or anybody in the street? What are the psychological issues? So we have still a long ways to go, but I think this is a very exciting project. This is so far just a Dutch project, as I said. So we are collaborating from the University of Amsterdam. We are collaborating with the Technical University of Eindhoven, with the Hartslag Nu, the Dutch citizen responder system, as you know, and with the Philips company. So with that, I would like to take your questions. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much for that update and sharing some of the activities moving forward. We've got time for 1 or 2 quick questions. There are none on the Slido, so it's open to questions in the audience. So it's fascinating to see about the Apple Watch, concept and development. In terms of size of the evaluation, how many participants are you evaluating, and I guess what are the outcomes that would convince you that the technology is worth taking forwards?
Yes. So let me reiterate. This is the very first step. So what we are trying to do is use volunteers. How many? A couple of dozens of volunteers. So what we try to achieve is simulate in society the occurrence of sudden cardiac arrest by giving them this watch with the blood pressure cuff, basically. So they pump up the blood pressure cuff at any time, and we try to detect those signals. Okay. And in addition to that, we will also test it initially in people who already have ICDs and who will have spontaneous VTs and VF episodes. That number is, of course, much smaller, but that's the real-life situation that we're trying to achieve, that we try to test it in.
Oh, fantastic. I did wonder how you were going to induce cardiac arrest in the volunteers, but a blood pressure cuff sounds much more friendly. Great. Bernd, was that a question?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you very much. Bernd Böttiger from Cologne in Germany. I just would like to know how many patients you will stuff with these type of Apple Watches.
Yes. That's We have not come at that question yet because we first want to see whether it actually works. Afterwards, this is a long drawn process, so a drawn out process where I hope well, in 10 years maybe, or maybe a little bit earlier, to say more about this. But we have not made that power calculation yet. As I said, one of our most important criteria is the smallest possible false positive rate.
Great, thank you. Well,
thank you.
Really appreciate the update,
Sure.
Hanno, and also for all of the fantastic work that you and the ESCapeNet have been doing for advancing our understanding and improving outcomes from cardiac arrest. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a slight change in the order of the electronic programme, but not a change in terms of the order that, as organisers, we'd planned. But it's my pleasure to, well, I'd love to be inviting Janet Bray up to the stage, but for those that saw Janet Bray on the dance floor last night, they may understand why Jan Thorsten Greisner has very kindly stepped in to provide an Utstein update.
Nice, Kevin. Oh, can I have my slides, please? By the way, while we are waiting for the slides, it was a good night yesterday evening. I think it was a good party, and nope, that's also not me. But maybe at the end of the day, someone will give that presentation if you'd put it on several times.
Yeah, maybe tell them the title.
It's my name, Greisner, and it's Utstein. And it must be number 4 from the presentation when I'm right. Oh, yes, that's good. Thank you. Yeah, giving an update about the Utstein recommendation. Some of you listened to the presentations yesterday, and Janet was the kind to send me some slides that I have the chance to describe it in a very quick manner. Utstein recommendations, you know, there are more than one. We are talking about the out-of-hospital cardiac arrest description first in the early 90s, and then coming up with 2 updates. And these are my conflict of interests. Yeah, Utstein, as I said, is a synonym for a lot of conferences. I think it was more than 40 at the moment, and also a lot of papers coming out with the Utstein recommendation for more or less everything dealing with cardiac arrest. But it is a backbone for everything what we're doing in cardiac arrest registries. So following the Utstein guidelines for out-of-hospital or in-hospital cardiac arrest, looking at variables, looking at definitions, and it is worth the effort to look every 5 or 10 years for an update due to changes within the treatment. And if you treat something new or you new technology like Hanno described, then it is good to analyze and collect the data also in registries that we have the chance with a high number of cases to do it after a study, re-evaluation, and then seeing how the practice is working. So now it's time for an update of the out-of-hospital cardiac arrest recommendations. Last time in 2014, now in 2022. To be honest, I think we will publish this next year, so if everything is right on time, there will be an update in 23. And the idea is to look at all the variables what we have, and this time you can see the list of the authors and courses, and I'm really happy to share that group together with Janet Bray from Australia. The idea is to combine not only the scientific questions, but also the feasibility questions that we can ask people running registries, what is feasible to collect. So sometimes we had in the old Utstein side some nice ideas what we like to collect, but the registry workers told us years after that it was not possible, and it was frustrating for everyone because you want to follow the Utstein recommendation and in real life it doesn't work. So this time we hope that we can figure out that weak points of the Utstein recommendation and produce a new update that is fitting for that time, but also looking into the future so that we have the chance to see and get more details. And a good example, I give you only one, is the bystander CPR rate. You remember from the early 90s, there's a bystander with the option yes or no. And it is also in the first and the second update, you can cross a yes and a no. And a lot of things are based on that and calculated on that yes or no. And Holger Maurer, who gives the presentation, the first presentation today, wrote a great paper about when is a bystander a bystander. And if you choose for that and look for this in resuscitation, you can see that there are maybe 50 definitions of a bystander. And for 2025, people say yes, same opinion. And for 25, you have sometimes a yes, sometimes a no. So what we have, and I said it, something, and the treatment also changed, we had a bystander 20 years ago. Now we have activated bystanders. We have an app. We have someone will be alerted on in the future, like Hanno described, a machine that alerted the EMS system. So all these things must be taken into account when we want to have the data in the system. And just for the simple thing like bystander on scene, could it be someone who's on scene? Is a bystander every time a bystander when he's a professional, but not on duty? What is on duty? So you see, there's a lot of nice discussion within the scientific community, but we must break it down to maybe 5 or not more variables or interpretations for that, and then we must train the public and all the colleagues who are doing data collection to follow that rules. Otherwise, we end up with a yes or no, with all these limitations in that simple thing like a bystander, yes or no. You all know the Utstein update from 2014 with this idea, and to be honest, Gavin and I, we were also co-authors of that paper. We were last time happy with this picture and say, okay, this is one graph fits all, you have all the information, but to be honest, we can't find, I think maybe there are some, but any presentation, documentation, any paper using exactly that form. So we produced something what we were really proud of. We said this is one-fits-all paper, but in real life, no one is using it. And this is something what we have learned over the last years, that not only getting data in, but also getting data out of the registry is very important. So we want to come up with a very easy run sheet that you can see how to collect the data, but also a very easy way how to present data. And this based on definitions, but also on recommendation, because people look at that paper and will decide how they present. What we will stick with is the idea to talk about system, dispatch, the patient, the process, and the outcome. This will be the same like this year, but we will add some questions or variables to the specific fields so that we can have more information, maybe about first responder programs, AED collocation registries, other things describing the system, to give more information and have more information about the system to have a better know. We talk about dispatcher times. This is, I think, a very important part to see. Are they doing it very quick, or is it a very long thing? Is it a quick response? All these things must be evaluated, and therefore you need the routine data. Then you have a higher number of data. So our idea is to, also with Eureka 3, we indicate some of these timestamps so that we can have them also in the new recommendation. The patient is a DNR order, as a other description of the place, and as I said, for bystander, you can also do the same thing like where will the cardiac arrest occur? Home, is it your home? Is it someone else's home? Is when you're nursing home, is this your home, or is it while you're working there? So you can see there's a confusion, and you can think data guys crazy things, but think just about a place home. If you're alone at home, there is no bystander. If you're at home as another person, then will minimum 2 persons. And so simple questions, simple variable may cause for the interpretation a lot of misinterpretation. So we try to get as clear as possible, and our idea is to get help from not only the writing group, but help from others. And this is a picture from Utstein. So it's no better place to talk about Utstein revision also on Utstein. And we took the chance during the last days before we came to Antwerp to combine a worldwide registry meeting and masterclass. The masterclass is absolutely new thing what we installed this year together with Kiel and Oslo University, to have young professionals talking about registry work, and we took the chance to discuss with these young professionals also their ideas on the new Utstein style. So we had the luck that there were some of the co-authors of the new Utstein revision were also there, and so we combine our knowledge, our ideas, but we did directly a test with the young generation and say, okay, are there any fields we forget? So we think the Utstein revision in 2023 will be a good next point, but never ever it will be the last Utstein revision, because there will be new things in 5 years and then we start it again. But this time it's 2023 Utstein revision, order of hospital cardiac arrest. Thank you.
Thank you for this update. Are there any questions from the audience? There are none online. No questions? I have a quick question.
Yes.
So why do you think that template wasn't used as often or as maybe in the way that you attempted it
Give him
to
a
be
chance
used?
Okay, you ask for the template, why is no one using it? I think it is too complicated. And we can fill it, and we filled it in our German registry, or we can do it automatically. And we had a printout of that and looked at it and said, yeah, nice, every information on, but only for experts. And what we've learned over the years is that you have to present data in an easy way. And we employ a graphic designer just for making medical knowledge more transferable, not only to the public, but also to professionals. And this graph is a perfect example for experts have a good idea to put everything on one page and know exactly where you can find things, but it is maybe the writing group. And maybe we did something wrong 5 years ago.
All right. And maybe you can give like one example of, you talked about the young professionals joining this time and coming with new ideas. So what would be one new, fresh idea that you took from the young professionals?
It was the continuous discussion on bystander, the definition of bystander, because there are so many, and after we heard Hanno this morning, I think there will be other points we have to keep in mind. So the definition of an app, not app activated, is it a layperson, and what kind of app is it? Are they just collecting, including patient treatment persons that have a higher medical education or not? And all the things you can keep in mind, but nevertheless, we're talking about registry work and not a study, so you can't come up with 20 variables. And the idea with the young colleagues was to see if our idea of description fits, and maybe we can figure out a better one, but nevertheless, we never will have 50 definitions of bystander CPR. There must be maximum 4 or 5 variable options, but more than a yes or no. And therefore, it was great to discuss with the young colleagues.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
So it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, who is giving an update or highlights from the ERC ResearchNet. That will be Professor Böttiger.
Yeah, thank you very much and good morning, and thanks to Gavin, who asked me to give an update and highlight the last 2 years of the ERC ResearchNet. And I would like to invite you to follow me a little bit also back into the history of the ERC ResearchNet. But before this, I need to show you that was very fast, my conflicts of interest. And now, you probably remember that the ERC ResearchNet has been founded in Krakow at the ERC Congress in Krakow 2013. May I ask you who has been there during this? So several people in the room. And if I remember right, and please help me if I'm wrong, we have been 73 people there when the ERC ResearchNet was been founded. And in the meantime, we have more than 220 members of the ERC ResearchNet, which is already a success, I would say. We have generated a lot of publications within that network, a little bit less than ESCAPE.net, but we also had less money than ESCAPE.net, I would say. And we have generated 390 impact factors, 92 publications over the last 7 or 8 years. And I checked it up for this presentation, 60 presentations in the last 2 years, which is really amazing, I think. We had already 3 ERC ResearchNet summer schools. We have had planned 3 years ago another one at Lago di Garda in the beautiful Italy, and then COVID came. But we will make a summer school, may I'm allowed to say this, together with the ESCAPE.net and the PAC project in Lago di Garda next year in May, and this is already a very nice perspective, I would say. I have had the privilege and the honor to chair the ERC ResearchNet as ERC Director Science and Research until June 2020, and from that time on, Gavin Perkins is chairing the ERC ResearchNet and is the Director Science and Research of the ERC. And here you can see the numbers of publications. This is the pointer, okay. As said, we started in 2013, and you probably all remember, if you have done a study before, you have an idea, you start to think about a study, and until publication, it will last in mean 3 to 5 years, or maybe 3 to 4 years. That also happened within the ERC ResearchNet. As you can see, in 2016, publications started, and maybe we can say it's a great success what we have all together developed over these years, and I'm sure it will continue in that way. And now Gavin asked me to highlight the publications of the last 2 years, and therefore I would like, because it's really difficult to take some of the publications out, I just wanted to highlight 60 publications in 2 minutes probably. So you will see what we have done over the last 2 years and what we have published. You can see a lot of names on this list as authors. We have several people whose name is on that screen here in the room, and many, many outside, and maybe in the virtual space. And I would just highlight a paper that you already have shown by Hanno, which is Incidence of Sudden Cardiac Death. First responder systems can stay also operational under pandemic conditions. Impact of COVID is always a topic, and all over the world the number of publications have been increased due to COVID, also probably because many people had more time to write up papers. First responders to cardiac arrest, out-of-hospital cardiac arrest, and ambient air pollution, a very actual topic, I would say. Video-assisted cardiopulmonary resuscitation, group size for teaching cardiopulmonary resuscitation skills, temperature management after pediatric cardiac arrest, kids save lives for sure. Impact of perceived inappropriate cardiopulmonary resuscitation, meta-analysis appraising efficacy and safety of adrenaline. World Restart a Heart Initiative for sure. Please don't forget October 16, and please participate in World Restart a Heart if you have any possibility for this. COVID-19 again, video-assisted cardiopulmonary resuscitation, out-of-hospital cardiac arrest in Europe. You have seen the results of the ERC 2 study, and many, many other topics are on that list. And since I only have 5 minutes, that I can highlight these 60 publications only together and very briefly. You have seen that paper. It has been presented. These are the papers, by the way, that have been published this year, so in the last, I would say, 6 months. And I brought them with me for you and make them a little bit more visible. COVID-19, dispatcher-assisted cardiopulmonary resuscitation, intubation for resuscitation by paramedics wearing protective material, dispatcher self-assessment, and video-assisted cardiopulmonary resuscitation, targeted temperature management, a very important topic, and I have a conflict of interest here. We have shown that the rate of bystander CPR is the key factor for the question whether temperature management really helps or has no effect. And you remember that in TTM 1 and 2, bystander CPR rates have been above 80 or 90%. This study you also have seen from Hanno Tan already. This is a summer school, always in summer. This is Freiburg. I think it's 3 or 4 years ago. We had a good working atmosphere there. And with this, I would cordially thank all people who are and who have been involved in the ERC ResearchNet. I'm really proud that we started this in Krakow several years ago, and I think we all together can be very proud what we have achieved with this in the meantime, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bernd. We've got time for a question or a couple of questions. So while people are thinking about their questions, if you reflected over the last 7 or 8 years of your leadership of the ERC ResearchNet, 1 or 2 highlights. What's the most rewarding thing from the ResearchNet?
I think the most rewarding thing is that when we started this, that was new territory and new land for everyone. And I was really not sure whether something will come out of this. And maybe we all were not sure. And we had a lot of networking during our meetings and a lot of really international collaboration all over Europe and beyond. And there has been established some kind of a network, some subgroups, without any money. I have to point out that there is not €1 in from ERC, despite some traveling costs or so, because ERC during these times did not really have money. This changes in the meantime, so maybe we have a little bit more money for future research under the umbrella of ERC. So networking, I think, is the most important issue, and the feeling of being part of a research family under the umbrella of ERC is another most important issue, because some of us will remember research was 10 years ago not the primary focus of ERC, if not no focus of ERC, and this has been changed, and we can all be proud of this.
Yeah, fantastic. And we're delighted, Bernd, that you're now the treasurer.
Yes, thank you very much.
So we're in safe hands in terms of future investment. Great. Thank you very much, Bernd.
Thank you.
So people will have noticed a slight change to the programme, but it's my pleasure now to move to the next part. I'm going to invite Gianni from Cell AED to describe the technology briefly, but most importantly talk about the research plans for this new technology. And after that, we'll be going to Pierre, and then we'll be moving to the Life Force presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you Cell AED one now.
So in the meantime, the slide is coming. Thank you very much, Professor Perkin, for the opportunity. I represent an Australian company named Rapid Response Survival, and we develop the first generation of a portable defibrillator. So this technology is a new technology, and it's a pleasure to be here with you at the ERC in order to introduce this product in Europe. So it's the first time that we present this technology in Europe. So 2 words about the cardiac arrest. You know that out-of-hospital cardiac arrest is a global health crisis. Millions of people each year will experience an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest, and survival rate is poor. The majority of these cardiac arrests happen in the home, but public access defibrillation are used only in a fraction of these cases. So the importance of time to the chance of survival cannot be overstated, so quick access to defibrillator is vital. So we decided to introduce the CellAid. We propose a new generation of the defibrillator. It's a really portable defibrillator, reducing the size and cost of the AD and improving the access to the home environmental and addressing a gap in the survival chain and in line with the ILCOR statement. So through innovation, we were able to develop a new device that is smaller, that is like a block of chocolate, is just 300 grams, and it costs 1/5 of the normal defibrillator in the market. Let's say, with the CellAD, we reinvented the use of the AD using a simple 3-step process, and the CellAid can be deployed with easy. So our main word, our snap pill stick, is designed to be simple, intuitive, to reduce barrier and high stress situation. When we are talking about the CellAid, we have not created only a product. We have to create an ecosystem. So we have developed some training program, some training app, and in order to ensure people the technology and the tool to save a life when they need it to the most. So this is something that you know quite well. This can be easily understood in relation to the sudden cardiac arrest chain of survival, as defibrillation is the only one of many care points that collectivity lead into a better survival outcome, which highlight the importance of holistic approach to solve sudden cardiac arrest currently low survival rate. So let's go to the clinical study. At the moment, our roadmap on a clinical study is showing in this slide. We have a multiple trial at the moment, and if anyone is interested in more detail or keen to be involved in any of our clinical research project, please do not hesitate to visit our booth, and I will put you in touch with our clinical research team. So this is our research team. This is Sele's serial number 316 is very close to the heart, and you can see the photo of our research team after the first successful defibrillation patient with this device. And we are looking forward to sharing this finding of this trial when it will be completed. More exciting clinical and technical information about the Sele are currently planned to be shared during the Medical 2022 in Düsseldorf in November. So we are working, So we are working with some quality partner at the moment, some quality partner based in Australia, but we are moving quite fast in Europe. United States will come later, of course. And I think they trust to our technology, because it's the evolution of the idea as the ELCOR statement recommended. So if you are interested in being involved, please do not hesitate to contact us at the booth or scan the QR code, and we'll be in touch with you. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Still no questions online? Are there? Okay, all right, please. Do we have a micro? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for your talk. It looked like this is a single-use device. How many shocks can this device probably deploy?
20. The technology will be 20 shock, when it's full charge.
So I've got two microphones now, so really exciting to see this this development. When's it going to be available in the market? When will it be purchasable in Europe?
I think it will be available next year around January, February. At the moment, we are finishing the clinical study, and I'm sure that probably the device with the English version will be available around January, February.
There's been some other questions, yeah.
It's really amazing to see this. My dream was always that we can use our cell phone for defibrillation, and you're getting very close to this dream now, isn't it? And I also had the same question as Holger, but how long is the battery has enough power? So, because cardiac arrest is not occurring every day, maybe sometimes you have to wait years that a cardiac arrest occurs. So how long is the lifetime of the battery, and is it really a single-use device, or can you recycle it? I mean, during these days where the climate is always getting hotter, it would be charming if we can recycle it, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you, Professor. Yes, the shelf life battery at the moment is 1 year, but we plan to increase in 2 years' time. So we have developed a special program that is called AD for Life. So when you buy the first device, you can pay a monthly fee, and when the device expires after 1 or 2 years, we can receive a new one. concerning the climate, the sustainability you are talking about, you are correct. This is a recycling product, so it will not be completely recycling 100%, but the majority of the components are recycling. So we are quite conscious of the fact that sustainability is very important at the moment, yeah.
Any other questions? If not, then thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And I'd like to call Pierre Mols to the stage to give us an update from the Belgian cardiac arrest registry.
Dear colleague, good morning. It was asked me to speak about the benefits of the register, and I will speak about the benefits I imagine I look in Belgium. I have no conflict of interest, and I see 6 different points to discuss. By a descending order, thanks to the registry, we have a better treatment of out-of-hospital cardiac arrest at the national level, I think. Second, an improvement of the treatment of OCAS in the center, participating to the registry, sure. For Belgium, specifically, maybe for other countries too, recognition of the emergency department as official training center by the Ministry of Health for the specialty, and contribution to international science, sure, and locally probably stimulating young emergency physicians to go to research and make the future possible in research in Belgium. And finally, respond to advice asked by the Ministry of Health sometimes. Just to go through these different aspects, this for the improvement at the national level, I think that participating services in the registry apply the good manner to work, and they are followed and by the other service. And so I think that by competition, there are an improving quality of treatment in the out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. For the services participating to the registry, they are register the case in the base the same way, and so at the moment they can discuss together for the difference in survival rate, for example, and discuss about what is better in one country, in one location in comparison with other. And so by discussion, probably that the different participating center can discuss and improve their own manner to treat the cardiac arrest outside the hospital. For Belgium, this center participating in the registry published, and there is a need for one publication each 5 years in Belgium to be recognized by the Ministry of Health to be a good service to train emergency physician. And so all the participating services in Belgium registry have the guarantee to have such a quality publication. Thus, we speak about the all what we hear this morning. That's we are doing a good research, and then we are improving that, and then certainly that's very important to participate. And we have it's important to remember that the survival rate, when you look at the 30 last year, is going up, but very slowly. and we are doing many things, but there are only a slow increase in survival rates. So we have to continue the discussion, and to what I heard, what the Dutch are doing now to detect the cardiac arrest. It's very impressive, and that's a good way to enter inside home where 80% of the cardiac arrests are appearing, and that's a problem of detection. And this research is very important in this field. And what is important too, that's we are doing this registry with young colleagues, and these young colleagues are very competitive and are the future of the research. So the in French, relève is a guarantee, and to continue what we have done during the 20 last year. And finally, it's very interesting to know that for Belgium in particular, the government was not very happy with the registry because it was a private initiative. And finally, after 5 years, they come to us to ask, let's say, what about the incidence of the cardiac arrest in Belgium? Because with our registry, we are not able to answer that. Can you help us with to publish the state of the art in Belgium with the AD? And so they come to us because we have a good registry and strong data. And finally, we give advice to the Ministry of Health when they ask to us. So that was the 6th aspect I seen about the benefits of a register in a country, and I speak about Belgium. Thank you.
Thank you, Pierre. That was a really nice overview. We've got time for 1 or 2 questions. Bernd.
Thank you very much, Pierre, for this nice work and what you have done over the last years or maybe decades to install this. Just a brief question, do you have an AED registry in Belgium? I have seen some AEDs around. Is there a map or an electronic registry or something like this available? And if yes, since when is it?
We have not a specific AED registry, but in the cardiac arrest registry, we note if the AED is used or not. And so we know about the cardiac arrest if the AED is used or not. So there is no specific AED registry. It's very difficult because you buy a registry, you are obliged to declare that to the Ministry of Health, but after 5 years, maybe this registry not yet available. And what about the quality of the battery? What about the quality of the patch? And it's very difficult to follow that. And that I remember to one Congress, it was an obligation in the future to have a automatic evaluation of material to give an ordinate, a PC, information about the level of the battery. And so in the future, maybe automatically, we will have information about the AEDs available in a country, in a place, a state, and it's very difficult to say, oh yes, I have a registry of AED, and what it means. One want to know about the quality, what is available, what time. There are so many AEDs not usable because the bank, the garage, the different Carrefour, Deleuze are closed, open, weekend, night. And so.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you, Pierre. Much appreciated. Another great presentation. So the last presenter today is Theodorus, who's going to talk to us about life force from afar.
Thank you, Professor Perkins. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Right. And can you see the first screen?
We can see it's in presenter mode, so we can also see your words.
Okay. So we'll just do it like this.
But it's okay, we can see the slides, so.
It's no problem, but I'd rather you saw the full, just a moment, please. Yeah, that's
perfect.
Better.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Theodoros Kalivas, and I'm honored to present to you Project LifeForce. In last year's Congress, the outline and goals of LifeForce were presented. So today we will present the methods and materials. I have no conflict of interest to declare. These are the project partners for LifeForce. So, the main purpose of the project is to create the methodology and educational material needed to pre-train 6 to 10-year-old school children in basic life support, also to prepare their teachers to deliver that pre-training, and ultimately to demonstrate the need for including first aid training in the national curricula of all European Union countries as a mandatory subject. Upon completion of the project, 1st to 4th grade school children in Europe will be able to receive this training and then be ready for the Kids Save Lives programs that are implemented in several European countries. This is the LifeForce BLS algorithm, which was adapted from the 2021 ERC guidelines on basic life support. As you can see on the right, it includes 7 stages, each of which contain from 2 to 8 steps. Just to see an example, this is a safety stage, and it's 3 steps, and you are seeing the educational card you have created, of which we will talk more in a few minutes. So, on the left, this is a taxonomy of the skills that are related to the LifeForce BLS algorithm. There is a series of cognitive, perceptual, language, communication, social, and emotional skills that are related to implementing the algorithm. As you can see, some of them are involved in all of the steps, while others are activated only in certain ones. These skills have been analyzed into building blocks matched to the corresponding algorithm steps. On the right, you can see the classification of skills into age groups, taking into consideration the characteristics of the physical and emotional developmental needs of each stage. The LifeForce material features a series of activities of distinct difficulty levels tailored to the developmental stage of 6 to 10-year-old school children. Now, the educational methodology we used is based on the learning theories of Bloom's taxonomy and universal design for learning. Bloom's taxonomy is a pedagogical framework which promotes critical thinking and constructive knowledge. It is a multi-tiered model, as you can see on the pyramid on the right, of classification of thinking behaviors which corresponds to different cognitive levels of learning. The universal design for learning is suitable to connect to a diverse student population based on brain development, learning, and digital media. UDL ensures that the 3 main brain networks of learning, which are the networks of emotions, recognition, and strategy, are all activated. Now, the use of music in LifeForce aims to foster a wide range of skills that 6 to 8-year-old students need to develop as part of the preparation for future training in CPR. Music is a stimulus that may influence factors related to learning, ranging from attracting students' interest to supporting memorization of BLS key concepts. Kids yoga is a fun way for children to cultivate important cognitive, social, emotional, and physical movement skills. Furthermore, it's an effective and feasible way to help children develop skills in stress management and emotional regulation. Finally, the social and emotional skill activities help children identify and manage emotional states, both of themselves and others, and to develop awareness of themselves and others. This, in turn, helps them to make the decision to act quickly in urgent situations and promotes increased skills in problem solving and conflict resolution. Moving on to the LifeForce material, these are the 6 mascots we created for LifeForce. Each of them have either a mobility or sensory difficulty, or attention deficit disorder, or autism, or a learning difficulty. we have created a 54-page booklet with an original story featuring the mascots. This has been illustrated by an 8-year-old pupil, and it also features exercises with the pupils that are related to the story. We have also created 200 educational cards, 90 small cards that are meant for pupils, and 110 large cards that are meant for teachers, including vocabulary, BLS algorithm, BLS and emotional scenario, cognitive exercises, music, and yoga poses. And as you can see from the borders, these are color-coded to facilitate use, and they belong to certain thematic sections. We've also created a 350-page handbook with general exercises for the algorithm automation, and with further exercises grouped into 2 levels, one for 6 to 8-year-old and one from 8 to 10-year-old pupils. We've also created a 320-page book with the lesson structure, theory, and activities per thematic section, and a connection of the activities to the cards and to the pupil's handbook. Also, we've composed 5 original songs for the algorithm stages and steps at a tempo of 110 beats per minute. We've also developed an emotions board game, which can be played by groups of 2 or more groups of students, and contains questions that are related to the emotional awareness and self-regulation. Finally, we've created posters like the one you see here. There's one for the BLS algorithm stages, a map of emotions, the taxonomy and classification of life force, as we saw before. And also, we are developing at the moment an e-learning platform, which will feature material for both pupils and teachers and will be hosted on our website. I'd like to point out that all the life force material is original, including all the custom-made graphics. All the material that is meant for pupils is using dyslexia-friendly settings based on British Dyslexia Association guidelines and other research. And also that our activities include adaptations and modifications for special learning groups where applicable. Now, before I accept your questions, I would like to point out that as our website is currently under construction, until then, please feel free to follow our Twitter account so you can be notified of the website's launch and other important updates. And also, if you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. Please use our email address. This was all from me. Thank you for your attention. I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the audience at this point? No. Maybe a question from me. This is a very comprehensive approach to teaching children BLS, basically. What would you say are your advantages, well, when compared to a much simpler approach of just having BLS training sessions in the classroom?
Right. The first advantage is that we are targeting a certain age group from 6 to 10-year-olds, which have very different physical and developmental needs. So basically what we have done is we have taken the BLS algorithm and have matched the skills that are needed and understood by children of that age group into the teaching of BLS. So our approach is not medical per se, but educational. And this is how we propose to address the issue of children of that age not being able to either physically or mentally receive BLS education as it is meant for adults or older children.
All right, and you mentioned this being like some kind of pre-training, right? So is it the plan to first have this and then like evolve and then go into usual normal BLS sessions or training sessions, or what's the plan?
Yes, this is correct. Our goal is to, first of all, pre-train the pupils in some of the skills. For instance, they may not be able to do chest compressions, but they can know what 30 compressions mean and what the rate of 110 per minute means. They can also learn the vocabulary which is required in order to communicate, which is very important. I mean, things that are very clear for adults need to be learned by children. And also, they will develop a culture of prevention, a culture of solidarity, a culture of wanting to help, which is something that is required if more of lay people are to be trained so they can provide help in and out of hospital cardiac arrest, which is the ultimate goal.
Okay, thank you. We have one question from Professor Böttiger.
Yeah, Kalimera, Theodoros, and this is Ben Böttiger speaking. Please tell us a little bit about the languages in which this material will be available and about the plans for dissemination all over Europe.
Thank you, Professor. It's good to see you, even from a distance. Yes, all the material is being developed in English, of course, which is the official language of the European Union for Erasmus+. But all the material is also translated into the country languages of all partners, so in German, Italian, and Greek. We have a series of activities planned now that the material production is finished, and these include visits to 2 schools, at least 2 schools per country, to demonstrate the material, train the teachers, and observe the use of the material. We have also planned national events, and also we have also planned, or rather are planning at the moment, an international conference scheduled for end of May 2023 in Greece. More of all of that will be posted on the website, which hopefully will be available no later than September.
Okay. We have one question online. It's about the teachers' perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Are there also fewer barriers for the teachers compared with a more traditional or a more concise teaching approach?
No, we in the teacher's handbook and the large educational cards, we have included instructions, and there is also a suggested structure for the lesson. And there will also be an educational material meant for teachers as part of the e-learning course that is currently being developed. So we are confident that teachers will be able to pick up the methodology and be able
sorry,
to
could
use...
you repeat the last few sentences because we couldn't hear you?
Okay, sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I said that we have developed the teacher's handbook in such a way, and also have included instructions in the large educational cards, so that teachers will be able to use the methodology and the material without difficulty. And there will also be a course for the teachers in the e-learning platform that is being created, so they will receive extra information through that.
Okay, thank you. I think there are no more questions also online. So I think we can wrap up the session. Thank you very much for all the presenters. And have a nice day ahead of you.